Welcome to A Cup of Comfort with me, Trish Laub. This show is about CareHero topics that nobody wants to talk about. Perhaps you tended to a younger sibling's cut finger or babysat a neighbor's child. Maybe you were thrown into the fire and became a CareHero during a medical crisis. You may care for a parent, spouse, sibling, a child, or a friend, but the challenges are the same. Getting the tools you need to navigate the maze of unfamiliar options can be overwhelming. I know. I have been there. I didn't even know what I didn't know. I am here to help you with all of it. No CareHero topic is off limits. I'm here to share with you concise, actionable information, as well as my fresh perspective about Alzheimer's and providing dignified care through the end of life for anyone with a life-altering diagnosis. So grab a cup of your favorite beverage, sit back, and let me help you on your CareHero journey. We will talk and share, we may laugh, and we may share a tear or two. And we will always share a cup of comfort. Hi, everybody. I'm Trish Laub, and welcome to A Cup of Comfort with me. This is about you, the CareHero. By now, you know that a CareHero is someone who steps up to provide care for another who cannot provide that care for themselves. That includes caring for parents, spouses, siblings, friends, and yes, children. Whether you're new to the show today or have listened to some of the shows, I encourage you to visit the CareHero radio page on my website. That's Trish Laub, L-A-U-B as in boy.com. I've already covered several really important CareHero topics. Now, as a child, I took dance lessons. I would twirl through the grocery store, leap from aisle to aisle, and dance anywhere I could. I was part of a dance troupe in high school and continued to dance through college and into adult life. Then many years ago, prior to becoming a caregiver, I became a licensed instructor of a dance movement fitness class. When I dance, I feel better. During the 2.5-year journey of providing care for one parent with Alzheimer's and one with stage 4 cancer, many people encouraged me to invest time into taking care of myself, to practice, here's the word, self-care. I felt that I barely had time to care for my parents and certainly didn't have any extra time to take care of myself. I remembered that I felt that lack of time for self-care as a single mom with a demanding career until I took a short vacation alone. And I realized that when I came home, I was calmer and more patient, and I was a better mom. But I still hadn't reached that point with my parents' care. I held on to the negative feeling that taking time for self-care indicated that I was not dedicated to my parents' care. In other words, it was selfish. Can any of you relate to this? I bet you can. While caring for my parents, my schedule only allowed for me to be a substitute teacher of the dance movement class that I had regularly taught. Fortunately, it seemed that whenever I really needed a break from caregiving, especially one that I didn't feel I could take, I would get a call to teach for a colleague. The class I taught required my full attention and an awareness of how my body was feeling. I was not able to teach and remain in the world of providing care at the same time. So for 1 hour, I was in a different place, one in which I could feel free with no caregiving responsibilities or decisions required of me. After that hour, I was rejuvenated and fresh, yet peaceful and ready to face whatever my journey next held for me. Has that ever happened to you, maybe where you've taken a few minutes out of your day and you just felt better? As my parents' medical needs increased, they were prescribed medications meant to improve their health status. That were, as the saying goes, good for what ails you. At times, they were offered complementary treatments such as massage or acupuncture to make them feel better and heal. It was equally important that I receive care and remain well in order to be of the greatest help to them. One day, I realized that dance was my medicine. And when I took my medicine, I was more patient and focused, and my emotional and spiritual tank was filled with more of everything I needed to be the best caregiver and daughter that I could be to my parents. I then realized that self-care was not selfish. It was essential to my ability to be resilient and to recharge and thrive instead of merely survive. Self-care is really self-love. For me, my medicine is dance. What is your medicine? Take just a few seconds to think about that. Today, we'll be hearing from a different kind of care hero. She is providing care for a young family while living on a farm and working full-time at her very successful business. The lessons that my guest has learned about the importance of self-care or self-love are invaluable to everyone listening. Whether you're a care hero, actively have been, it applies to everyone. Now, I know that for many, even the recommendation of self-care is stressful, often steeped in guilt, and feels like it only adds to an already too full to-do list. Well, after you hear my guest today, you just might change your mind about that. Now, before I introduce my guest, I want to remind everybody that some of the information from today's show will be available in a downloadable PDF on the CareHero radio page of my website, trishlaub.com, after the show. So Megan Fuller is the broker owner of Motion Homes Group. She lives on a 100-acre farm with her, wait for it, 6 dogs, 1 cat, 4 goats, 20 plus chickens, 12 ducks, and yes, a turkey, with her significant other and 2 stepchildren. Megan believes that living on a farm and running a real estate business is only achievable by time management and self-care to make sure her cup is full to pour for her family and her farm. Megan is SRES certified and is always searching for how real estate can change the lives of those around her through buying, selling, and helping create a career. So welcome, Megan. I'm excited to have you here today. You are a different kind of care hero. So
yes,
I just want to get right into it and have you share a little bit about your story, about how you got to what you're here to talk about.
yes. Thank you for having me. I love the morning routine just in the morning, but it's not. It definitely takes some building up to, like you had said. I read a book back in 2017 called The Miracle Morning, and it talked about how you need to have sort of like this morning beginning that happens. And it's a lot of people kind of don't want to do a morning routine because they're just so busy, and I can totally, understand and relate to that. But I just started with like 1 minute, and one practice that I picked up more specifically back in 2019, because this has been kind of a moving, breathing process, was I write down every morning 5 affirmations and 10 goals. And that helps me stay focused every morning on kind of what I want to do. Because when you're in a situation where you're caring for, in my case, children, and then you're running, a business, and you're living, my life has a lot of care with all the animals. It's so great to have something every morning kind of get you there, and then get focused. And taking a minute to write down 15 lines on a paper is about, 1 or 2 minutes. And then once you master that, then you can kind of start adding things into it. Okay, I did my 5, my 10 for a week. Now I'm going to read 2 pages of a book. And then, the following week you do your 5, your 10, and then 5 pages of a book. And then, that's a lot of books. So just sort of taking the concept of this morning routine where it doesn't have to be so rigid and perfect. I need to get this done and be up at 5 and make my bed, and it's just taking that time in the morning to kind of evaluate what you need to fill your cup and sort of keeping everything in focus.
I love that. I love that you say if you read 10 pages of a book each day, you'll have read 3,650 pages in 1 year. I mean, that is truly how I learned to read, because I rarely have the time to sit down and read a whole book. And that, you get such a big impact out of that. Your gratitudes and your affirmations, do you feel comfortable sharing maybe just an example of each of those?
Yeah.
What types of things you're saying or writing rather?
My gratitudes vary every day. So I write, I'm thankful for warm mornings or hot coffee, or, that Calixto is home. It's my significant other. My goals, I reevaluate every 90 days. So there have been I started this practice in October 2019. And I think I've only missed like 6 days. It's my one thing. So even if I don't meditate and read, and because I have a pretty extensive, morning routine now, I always do this. So right now I'm debt free by, the end of the year, because I want to make sure that I'm paid off with my debt. I am connected and respected. I am an excellent stepmother. Every day I write where I'm going and who I want to, the person that I want to become. And then at the end of every 90 days, every quarter, I reevaluate. I'm like, okay, cool. I can add these two together. Or I need to add this one in, and kind of, so, because you start writing things down and becoming focused, you start checking things off your list of the things you want to get done and accomplish.
What I love is that, you said that you started out slow. Maybe it's a minute earlier. I know for me, most of my life, I've struggled to get up earlier. I've loved the idea of a morning routine, but, I also love, I was the kid who sat in or late in bed in, high school and thought if I don't wear socks today, I can stay in bed 3 more seconds. I know that's a little pathetic, but it's true. So the concept of writing your gratitudes and your affirmations and saying that takes 2 minutes. I think that's really, really powerful. I think for care heroes, when we hear about self-care, we think we're supposed to do, an hour of meditation or these big time investments. And what you're talking about is really, really simple to begin with. For your affirmations, you said you change them every 90 days and sometimes you kind of combine them. Is that, like on the first of this month, I switch all of them, or is that kind of an evolutionary process where you start to look at them and maybe change 1 or 2?
It's always been about 1 or 2, because once I also have like an old school paper planner. They're the Savor 90 days or something. So yeah. My whole life is planned around 90-day chunks. So at the end of my planner, I'm like, okay, cool. Let's look through my affirmations and see. I only change maybe 2 or 3 each time, to kind of be like, okay, that I can replace with this. So I haven't gone through and done like a whole change. I've been writing I'm an excellent stepmother I've been a stepmother now for a little over a year. So that doesn't change. I need to constantly every day be working to be an excellent stepmother. But I really wanted to live on a farm. So that once I've moved to my farm, I've changed that affirmation a little bit to, instead of I rent this farm, now I own a farm. And just getting more and more specific with, sort of what I'm looking for. So
when I first talked to you about this, that was what you just said is one of the things I really love, that we live in such a culture of get this done or else. You either succeed fully or you fail. And that's not what it's about. I mean, caregiving and everything in life is about just taking the steps that you can, take the next step forward, and being proud in that alone with no set, outcome, no attachment to the outcome in a way. So I love that you say that, you don't do this every day perfectly, if there is a perfectly. One of the things that you mentioned to me was part of the Miracle Morning routine is savers.
Yes.
Can you tell us what that is?
So when I read the Miracle Morning, the acronym is SAVERS, and your morning routine should have silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. And in the book, it talks about how you can do 10 minutes of each, which is obviously 60 minutes, which is a large morning routine that you have to build up to. Like I couldn't go run a marathon tomorrow. So to expect yourself to go to sleep tonight and wake up tomorrow and do 60 minutes of a morning routine is crazy. Don't expect that to happen. It's not going to. But you can do 6 minutes. You can, sit in silence for a minute. You can say some affirmations to yourself for 60 seconds. You can visualize where you want for 60 seconds. You can do jumping jacks for 60 seconds. You can do anything. You can hold a plank for 60 seconds. And, reading, that's 2 pages, a page. And I think it was, I read a lot of books in 2020 and I can't recall the exact book, but it talked about how when you're trying to build a new habit, might have been The Power of Habit, that you want to give yourself something easily achievable. So not, I'm going to read a book in a day. I'm going to read a page today. Because once you're going, you're probably going to read more than 4 pages. So how do you feel if your goal is 1 page and you read 5 pages, you feel awesome. If your goal is 20 pages and you read 5, you're not really doing what you need to do to make yourself feel better. Now you feel bad. So kind of just, and having all of those sort of things work together is the sweet spot. And there is no time frame. And just because maybe you just did SAVE today, SAV, that doesn't mean you had a horrible morning routine. No, you got up, you did it, you were intentions, and and life just happens. And it's 60 to 80% more. This is all data. Becoming a better person and kind of trying to do a routine and working towards building that, and then seeing how you did before shouldn't feel bad. You're just looking at how you've come so far and how you're going to keep going. So don't beat yourself up about it. No one in this world is going to look down at you more because you slept in 5 minutes or, did anything else. Be kind to yourself. Understand that this is coming from a place that you're trying to be giving and self-love and all that good stuff.
So I'm not sure, if you haven't a specific answer to this question, but how do you feel that your morning routine has had an impact on your significant other and your stepkids?
Yes, I am a way better significant other and stepmother when I have my minutes in the morning. Because at about 6:30, I can hear the feet scurrying across the hallway. Like, I need it. So yeah, it's because I have that time of, okay, this is what I want. Here I am. I'm going to make this for breakfast. Like just kind of knowing what's coming.
Yeah.
It is huge. And it makes an impact over the long term. When you do a meditation practice, even for 2 minutes a day, you can realize in your daily life that you're starting to detach from the emotions, that you've made that practice of sitting there and observing your thoughts, that when you're in a high stress situation, you can kind of be okay. And it feels weird because your body's kind of doing it because you've trained yourself subconsciously, to kind of watch, but it's been, it's incredible. And we all do have routines in the morning, like our whole life is. It's just how much planned and intentional routines. I live on a farm, so we have to get up and let the birds out in the morning or they scream at us. Like we have things we need to do, but being intentional about it. Okay, at 7, I'm getting up to let the chickens out. And then at 7:15, I'm going to have coffee. And then at 7:20, I'm going to be in my office and I'm going to read 2 pages and I'm going to go on with my day. We can find little bits of minutes here and there to sort of do that and feel good. And it's supposed to feel good. If you're the only way you're doing it wrong is if you are beating yourself up about it. Don't beat yourself up about it.
Right. I think for those people listening that are still kind of maybe thinking, well, okay, a minute of silence is a big step, then stand at your bathroom sink or sit up in your bed and take 3 breaths. That's it. And I so agree with you, Megan. I appreciate what you said, is once you get into taking care of yourself, whether it's a morning routine like Megan's or another one, you begin to be able to respond instead of react. And there's so much pressure and stress, whether you're raising kids, whether they have additional medical needs or not. Raising kids is a huge, CareHero responsibility, or, in medical crisis with an adult, the ability to respond instead of react it's sometimes life-saving. It really is. So yeah, Megan, you shared a story with me, and and if you don't want to share it, that's fine. And maybe I won't help you remember it correctly, but you were telling me something in regard to your stepdaughter and how she is learning to respond to things, to think through things kind of like you are, based on the work that you've done. I don't know if that's familiar. If not, we'll just move on. But do you remember that at all? Or
yeah, we do. Headspace is the app I use for my meditations, and they have monster meditations. So she loves to monster meditate. And when she's over at the other house that she lives at, it's very high stress and there's a lot that's hard for her to handle. And that she has a lot on her plate for being a 5-year-old kiddo. But she has been learning to do her monster meditations, and she knows to kind of take a deep breath and kids do what they see you doing. So she sees me reading in the morning, so she wants to read in the morning. And yeah, it's been awesome because we talk about when you feel sad or you feel anxious or your tummy hurts, go sit on your bed and breathe like you did with Grover, whoever the monster is of that day. And it helps her calm down, and she loves to do it. So yeah,
is that an app she's using?
Yeah, so I use the Headspace app.
Okay.
It's free. You can do free meditations. You can do a subscription. I don't know if monsters are coming in. I know that you can get monster meditation for free on YouTube, and it's on YouTube as well.
Okay.
So they have little tablets with YouTube Kids, and then I make their algorithm at night only be meditation. So when they wake up, it's meditation.
Mm-hmm.
So they could do that in the morning. And it because that's where we build our habits. We as adults are just building on habits that we built as children. So kind of just like I'm breaking it down for her, you kind of have to break it down for your inner child as well. Like it's okay. I'm just gonna wake up and take 3 minutes of deep breaths and write down my affirmations and have my coffee. And that's going to be 5 minutes. And then I'm off to the races.
Yeah. So Megan, I didn't see a C in that Savers that Savers
Yes.
acronym. C for coffee.
Yeah.
It's on my list, definitely.
Okay.
It's critical to the success of the morning. Just kind of briefly, was there, and again, share or not, take a pass on the question. Was there any, like a life event or anything that brought you to that tipping point where you could finally just say, I'm going to do this?
So there was sort of, it wasn't like a day. It wasn't. I got licensed in real estate in 2015, and I was at my office, and I was very successful, and I just didn't have control of my time, and everything was done in this hardcore get it done because you are the best. Like I woke up at 4 and I prided myself on that. And but I wasn't, it was coming from a place where my value was based on what everybody else kind of was thinking of me. And I did very well, and I won awards at this. And then I just kind of, it wasn't sustainable. And I guess an easy way to put it would be everything just kind of started falling apart. I was in a marriage that I shouldn't have been in because everybody thought I should be, and I had built up this whole world around me of what everybody thought. So back in about March of 2020, when the whole world shut down, I was like, I'm starting over, and I'm meeting everybody new in my life, and I'm going to take care of myself first. And I wrote on my whiteboard, Megan's heart over everything else. And I decided that I was only good and I could only open my brokerage and do what I wanted to do and be there for my agents and help my clients. And, I hadn't met the love of my life yet. If I was full, and I was going to just do that first. And at this time I had 2 goats, and I still had about 6 dogs, and a cat. Like it's not like I had things scared. I didn't have, obviously not the children yet, but it was kind of that moment of taking a breath and being like, okay, like what I've been doing isn't sustainable, and I'm no use to anybody if I just keep running it around.
Yep. If that watering can is empty, you can't water anything.
Right.
So I know that's kind of a cliche, visual and phrase, but it is so true. It's me going, off on a trip by myself when I'm a single mom and working a intense job and everything, and then having that realization that, oh my gosh, I'm so much better because I took a breath. I was so much better as a mom, so much more patient when I took time for myself. So it's that whole concept. I think I'm so appreciative that I think you really articulate that it is self-love. It's not selfish to do this. I think we're going to have to start wrapping up here, but I want to make sure that people know how to reach out to you, find you, reach out to you. If you're in the greater Denver area, Megan is a rock star real estate broker. So if you can share the information on how people can find you, contact you, that kind of stuff.
Yes. So I am the broker owner of Motion Homes Group. That is my company, not a franchise. The dream that was built upon I've wanted this. It's amazing. So I can be found at motionhomesgroup.com. There's a Facebook page as well. I love to help, obviously, people buy, sell, invest, as well as I love to help agents build their real estate business around them, their self-care. And then my number is 720-393-0673, and Megan at motionhomesgroup.com. Homes is plural. But please reach out to me, even if it's not real estate, even if you're like, oh my God, I'm a stepmother now, or anything like that. Please, I love to connect with people and help, just all of us, because if we're all helping each other become better, everything becomes better.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Final question here. Is there anything in particular that you want the audience to know that you haven't already said?
Mm.
Kind of hit you cold with that. Sorry.
Yeah, you did.
Sometimes you get to the end and go, oh my gosh, I really wanted to say this. So this is your moment. And maybe not.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think, well, the one person who changed my life was a wonderful mentor. His name was Gabe. He was the broker owner of Colorado Realty Pros, where I was previously before I opened mine. And there is so much value in finding someone who really does care for you, and it just in whatever you're doing. So I do want to say that make sure you find someone who really cares for you and helps you and builds you up to where you want to be. Because that
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself is self-care.
Yeah.
You find someone who supports you and wants you to go the best that you can. So I want to thank you so much. I appreciate you taking time out of your day. One thing that I will say about Megan is that I know that she is really, really, as far as the other people she works with and everybody, but I think it's unusual when you find somebody that you can work for or work with that really wants you to be your best and to take care of yourself as well. There's so many employers out there that just want you to grind yourself into the ground, and Megan's not that kind of person. So we're aligned on a lot of things like that. So I really appreciate your time. I know you were a great help to a lot of people, and I hope that you've changed the way some people think about self-care. So I will be in touch with you soon.
Sounds
good. Thank you, Megan. Thank you. I want to thank all of you listening for tuning in today and sharing this time with me. There's so much more that to be covered and talked about in regard to CareHeroes. So please reach out to me with questions, comments. I would really appreciate topics that you want to hear about. And if you would share your story with me, go to the CareHero radio page on my website, trishlaub.com, and fill out the contact form, or email me at info@trishlaub.com and let me know where you're listening from. I think it's so interesting for me. I'd love to hear from you. And while you're there, download the PDFs for the shows and sign up for my newsletter. Please join me the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month at 12 Pacific and 3 Eastern. Next time on July 13th, I'll meet you here with a special guest, Judy Cornish. She's the founder of the Dawn Method Strength-Based Dementia Care, and she's so interesting, and she is a master at helping people living with dementia to stay at home longer. So tune into that. She's got kind of a different perspective on dementia, and we are completely aligned on that. We have so many other interesting topics coming up. I want to share a couple different podcasts that I think that those of you listening to this radio show would be interested in. And I want to remind everybody, this is a safe place to come and talk about topics that maybe nobody else wants to talk about. We can talk about those topics and make them comfortable and maybe normalize them even. So with that, I'm going to say until next time, remember that you are a care hero. Thank you for listening to A Cup of Comfort with me, Trish Laub, and for your CareHero courage. Tune in next time on Transformation Talk Radio as we explore life-changing CareHero topics to assist you on your journey. In the meantime, I would love to hear any tips or insights that you've taken away with you today. So head on over to trishlaub.com. That's Trish Laub, L-A-U-B as in boy.com, and leave a comment, a question you would like answered, or a topic you'd like to hear about in the future. And while you're there, be sure to subscribe to my newsletter. So raise a cup and let's toast to all the amazing care heroes out there giving it their all. Until next time, remember that you are true heroes.